Hold on, I'm going live now. Redirecting. Then we're gonna start recording. All right, let's go.
What's up?
Go, Stefano. You the one. Stefano, no. Kevin, you the
Kevin.
one who started. So let's go.
Okay, so I was watching some interviews on YouTube about the book. You know, and there was one question that I really like. That it was like, how, in what point do you know about the Blue Ocean Strategy, the book, right? Like, in one point, are you not pursuing a business that is not really worth doing it because no one is doing, or it's really a blue ocean that you're pursuing? Like, like there is a line there that, is it really worth it, that business, if no one is doing it?
Okay, that's a
So,
good point.
yeah,
That's a good point because you can be in a blue ocean, but it's not working. So it's being in a blue ocean and it's not
It
working.
will
I
be
don't
like
think it's
it will be like being in a blue pond, little pond.
right. Right. But I think when they talking about blue ocean, it's not necessarily like being alone and there's no competition. I think there should be still some competition, so it makes sense. So you know more or less if the business it's a working business. But yeah, at the when to decide if the business is working or not, I think it's up to each individual. It's not something that's easy to decide, but it all depends. At this point, it all depends. But the concept of the blue ocean, I think it's amazing.
yeah,
It's a very good way of thinking when you start any business, because if you're in the red ocean, I mean, and you also can start in the blue ocean, and then one of a sudden it's already red ocean, right? So
that's
the
true.
difference in the book between red and blue is red when it's all the competition, everybody's competing for the same thing, for the same customer, for the same with the same product. And blue ocean is basically something to be different, right? Some innovation involved.
Like the
So
wine example.
huh?
About the wine example, there was something about the wine that a company they launched only two wines in the market.
Uh,
Yellowtail.
Yeah, exactly.
okay.
And those two wines, they didn't offer it like just to the wine loving customers, but to people that they used to drink beers or anything like that, that they don't really know anything about wine, and they don't taste any wines because it's too many selections out there in the market. So this company, re- um, they launch only two wines, so it's easy to decide for the customer that they don't know anything about wine. And it's not a premium wine, but it's not a bad wine. It's like right there in the middle, but easy to decide for the customer that they don't know anything about wine. And
Yeah,
that was
that's
the Blue Ocean strategy for that company.
definitely, definitely. So
So,
while
oh,
just
okay.
to
Go ahead.
stick with the evaluation before we go to with Stefano, what will be your rating on the book from 1 to 10, based on the summaries that you saw and a little bit that you read?
It's my turn to.
Yeah, you started.
Okay, so I would say a 10. I really like it, so I would say a 10.
Okay, the way it was written, you give it 10 as
Yes,
well.
yes.
It's in three parts. So the way it was written, the way it impact you, and overall.
Okay, so the way impact me, I would say an 8. The way it
Okay.
was written, I would say an 10, and overall 9.5, 9 to 9.5.
Good. Very good. So you would say your average is like a 9, right?
Yeah. Hmm.
Good. Great. Awesome. Stefano, you want to go next?
Well, yeah, sure. But I have a question for Kevin. You mentioned the kind of how the book made you think of how to maybe think of the opportunity that you're in, or how to choose other opportunities in the future, and think of whether something is too crowded or maybe there's not enough, demand for it to be worthwhile. Kind of like
Yeah.
that balance that you mentioned. How are you using that thought or that idea to when you're in your business or in the way you think about business? How are you using that?
Um, I would say that I'm using it, thinking outside the box. For example, in the business that we are in, is really crowded. It's like there's a lot of people, companies, and people doing it. So it's more like thinking about the unsets, like things that are not, for saying like this, like it's not that sexy to pursue. Like it's not like a super recognized brand or things like that. And then go and do that, and like if we all do the same thing, like we all know when you say, for example, a good bath soap, you will say Dove, um, what else, Irich, the same things. Everybody knows about that. So it's just like doing different things, thinking outside the box, and yeah, like those type of things. I don't know if I could explain myself, but that's what
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think.
Nice. Yeah, I think that's I asked because for me too, um, that has been a huge lesson this year. Like thinking about figuring out how to choose better opportunities um in business. And I think that this idea of the blue ocean is really good and aligns a lot with that. Um, I think within that, or if not, a separate one will be just getting to something that's growing, right? I launched a brand not too long ago, and I think a big part of the success is that the market is growing. There's more people every single year or every single month just looking for that type of product. There's more awareness, there's more recognition, so it's growing, and that just helps a lot. Also seeing a lot of different success stories in the space that I'm in, which is food and beverage, seems to be the same thing. Like there is new trends, and there are not fads. There are just like established trends that are growing for steadily year over year, and people just hop in, right? And if you work while you have that tailwind behind you and you're just moving with the market, like everything you do is just it just works so much better. So I think that aligns with the idea of the book, like just choosing better opportunities, and I think it makes sense taking the time and the effort and the energy to pick the right one, um, and then work on it. So I don't know, that was this whole idea of choosing the right opportunity has been very impactful for me. And this was a good reminder. I had read the book a long time ago, but it was too like I didn't it wasn't that relevant back then. I was just trying to get into whatever business, make whatever, just trying to get into the game. But now that I have had some experience, I maybe have a little bit more capital to invest and to be, I'm not in such a hurry. I'm like, all right, let me take a step back and make sure that I'm choosing the right opportunities, because I know that if I take 6 months to choose the right one, I mean, the following 2 years will be way better than if I had chosen whatever in month one, if that makes sense. you know?
Right.
So
I think,
yeah, man.
I think you also nailed something there very important, that sometimes people need first to really understand in what business they're going. Let's say in our space, which is e-commerce, they should start to start selling any products just to understand how everything works. So basically being in the red ocean, but try to spend as less as money possible to but gain the experience. And then once you already have some knowledge, then you can start looking for that blue ocean, right? Because starting with the blue ocean right away, I don't know, it might be too challenging.
Oh,
I'm
and
not
it's hard
saying
to
it's
find too.
impossible, but it's hard. Exactly. Without knowing anything about the industry, anything about how everything works, or even business, if this is your first business, it's very hard to start thinking right away with the blue ocean, you know?
Yeah.
Being in the business for a little bit, at least a year, and understanding how the whole thing works, like you started just to start to make some money, but then you can start seeing what you can do to be different, how you can start swimming in that blue ocean instead of being with everybody else, which again, I think it takes a little time before you get to that point.
I agree. Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
what
So
would
I give it
be
a 9
a
across
9?
the board. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I would say I read that book last year, I think, and it was recommended by Patrick by David. That's how I got the book, and I love it right away. You know, I this is gonna be the second time that I read the book, and I love it. I will give 10, 10, 10 across the board because it was impactful, and it was easy read, and overall I really like it's like those different books in the different industries or different things that it talks about. This book is very specific of that topic, that is very unique. I haven't read any books that talks about that specifically,
Mhm.
so that's why I will give a 10. I do have some highlights here to point, which is it's all about, so point number one, it's all about innovation, not competition. Value innovation key, which is making things better and cheaper. So usually when the competition is in the ocean, um, the red ocean, they usually compete with a better price or better product. In this case, they're saying to do both, to get better price and give more value. You know, look for the blue ocean, places where no one else swimming yet. Stand out by offering something unique, not just doing what everyone else does. Don't just stick to your usual customer market, and explore new ones, which you, Kevin, just mentioned about the wine bottle. There were usually people who selling wines would target the people who buy wines. And in that case, they were targeting people who were drinking beer, offering them wines. So that's basically looking for new customers. Learn from real life examples and case studies. They talk about that in the book. Keep evolving and adapting to stay ahead in changing world. Use tools and framework to create and capture value in the new markets. So those are my highlights from the book. And again, my evaluation is 10, 10, 10. I think it's very important to sit down and really think about this, how you can be different in your business. And sometimes we just go do yours, and we're doing, and we don't dedicate ourselves to actually think how we can be different. And again, it takes time, thinking, analyzing, and I guess like suffering with your own mind and see what really you can do different to basically not competing but be in the blue ocean. So that's my thoughts. I don't know if you guys Want to talk about it? Anything else?
How would you say you have applied this year? Well, last year, or maybe this year too, but
Yeah, it's right here.
how you have applied kind of this idea of
Blue Ocean. So
of Blue Ocean.
there's actually a few things, and the funny part is there's some things that basically push me instead of me looking for Blue Ocean. The market push me to a Blue Ocean. You know, there was a lot of cases that that was, just to give an example, selling like everybody else, selling the same product, but then I got banned from selling the same product, so it forced me to get all the papers and everything that I need to be one or two as other sellers to be able to sell this product uniquely, you know, which basically pushed me to be in the Blue Ocean. Nobody else is selling the product. You know what I mean? So that's kind of one of the things that happened to me. I was like, oh, you know, and I really thought about it. I was like, okay, if it's gonna take me a while to get all those papers, it's gonna cost me money. But if I got it, I'm gonna be in the Blue Ocean. You know, not everybody gonna go through this, and I'm gonna be very in a unique position. And that's exactly what happened. You know, there's a lot of products that is only me and maybe one, two other sellers selling. And it's just because of that. So it basically pushed me towards that. But when it was happening last year, I read that book, you know, and I was like, I gotta do it. I gotta do it because it's right there, you know. I'm gonna be in that blue ocean that this guy is talking about. So it did cost me money, investments, time, understanding also how the whole process works. It took me months, but I did it. So it's it really, that's why it's so impactful in my part, you know. So it really a 10 because at that moment it was happening to me, and I read the book. So
Nice, man.
yeah,
That's interesting.
and of course other things, you know, having which I really knew as well, having brand relationship, unique brand relationship that nobody else have, um personal touch, meeting with people, being, you know, those things, not everybody does it. You know, a lot of people just go and buy from the distributor, and that's it, they make X amount of money, and it's done. Nobody actually goes, create a relationship with the brand, meet the people, find their needs, fulfill their needs, work with them. Doesn't matter if you're making money or not making money for a time. And that's also a unique, and that's also basically being in the blue ocean. Not everybody does it. I mean, not everybody have a opportunity to do it either, but if you have an opportunity, and there's people who does have opportunity, they do it, you know. In my case, I had an opportunity and I did it, and it's it's um it's a win-win. So
Awesome, man. Yeah, I think it's not only, as you said, it's not only about choosing a market. It can be just thinking about as what is the highest return on investment on, yeah, return on my investment on the little things and on the big things of choosing an opportunity, a market, a product, whatever, and also the little things too, you know,
right,
the day to day or the week to week, month to month.
right, right. Yeah, there's so many things that you can implement this strategy as a blue ocean. Not only a specific product, it can be even in your team, what exactly you do that is very unique in your business comparing to, let's say, your competition. You know, what unique you do in maybe you're processing. To give an example, you're processing your products so fast that nobody can beat that. You know,
Yeah.
that can be some sort of um a way of being very different from your competition. There's so many things, you know, but
Yeah.
the issue is not everybody actually sit down, and again, it can happen with anyone. You can just start doing same thing, and you also be in the position when you are in the blue ocean, and one of a sudden you're not anymore. You need to find yourself, catch yourself, and say, okay, this is not a blue ocean anymore. I need to do something different again and
Yeah.
innovate again.
Yeah.
Yep. Anything else, Kevin, you want to add?
No, I'm listening, but you're right. That's something that I'm approaching to, trying to build relationship with brands directly, and yeah, I'm just following up with a few ones, and I'm still dealing with distributors, but in a different way. I have really good relationship with two main distributors, and I can ask them for one specific product they don't even have it in the catalog, and they most of the time look for me. That's for me, that's a plus. And yeah,
Yeah,
but
same way you can create a relationship with the brand, you can create a relationship with the distributor as well. Don't
yeah,
get me wrong, and find a way to be your guy, to be their guy, for any special products or anything, you can basically satisfies them.
yeah. So yeah, but the I think the real business is having relationship directly with the brand and adding value to them. And I see it as when you speak to a brand, I see it as unlimited jobs interview. And what I mean with that is that when you apply for jobs, whatever you are pursuing, let's say you are an engineer and you apply for jobs, you have to wait for the for them to call you, have an interview, and then being hired. But then you're stuck there providing providing your expertise to them in exchange for your time.
Right.
So with brands, it's kind of the same thing, but you can make it exponential. Instead of linear, it can be exponential because you have unlimited interviews that you can go to trade shows or call, and you don't have to wait for them to call you. You have to follow up. You have to have a good infrastructure. ¿Cómo se dice infraestructura?
Infrastructure.
Infrastructure, and and have the knowledge. Like I believe we all we have that, right? So the thing that how I see it is unlimited interviews, and then eventually those seeds that you're planting are going to catch up. So
Totally agree.
and see it like don't be greedy. Like don't think like about a brand like, oh, I'm going to make 20K a month just with one brand or 40K a month just with one brand. I see it in a different way. I see it like, okay, this is a job interview. I'm probably going to make $3,000 with this brand, and then 5,000 with another one. All of the sudden, if you have 10, you're probably making 50K a month. If you have
Right.
10, making that profit. So it's not. I see it that way.
Or even you don't even need maybe 10 brands. You can just get one, you can make $50,000 as well.
Yeah, that's true.
It can go anywhere, but with just one brand. But it have to be like a significant brand. So
Exactly.
but yeah, I totally agree with you. It's like an interview when you go and talk to them, and then you have meetings, board meetings. There's a bunch of people asking you different questions, and you need to be prepared to be able to answer them. That's why it's good also to basically practice all the time, because not even if you don't get the deal with the brand, but you learn the process. Then when another brand is gonna start asking you questions, you're already more prepared because you know what they're looking for. And after 10, 20 interviews, you are becoming an expert. you're already predicting what they're gonna ask you, and you can answer before they even ask you the question, and that puts you on another level. They're already seeing you how prepared you are, and that brings confidence in who you are. That's why they wanna do business with you.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. And if we have the opportunity to do it, I would love to do role play. You know what I mean?
What do you mean? Not sure.
Role play is pretty much is is pretty much getting better with this with the introduction speech
Mm.
with brands. And how you do that, how salesperson do that is by role playing. They take a co-worker or someone they know in the same field, and they start talking like the other person is the brand, and then the role play, it goes both ways. Like, let's say you are the brand, and I start trying to talk to you and ask you questions, and then you give me feedbacks on what I
Got
did
it.
wrong. So when we go through the field and do the thing, we have feedback. Like, those brands are not going to let us know those negative things, but if we role play, we can give feedback to each other.
It's like
Right.
practice.
Yeah. You should always have your it called elevator pitch. You know what elevator pitch is?
Hmm.
So it's basically having exactly know exactly what you do, and have that right away. If they're gonna ask you any questions anywhere, in any place, and the more you practice that, the better. Because once it's real big deal, is in the interview, you're ready.
What's the name? I'm sorry, I forgot.
Elevator pitch.
Elevator pitch. But
I'm
yeah,
gonna say something. So one last thing. Also, I think, and I think we have been talking about it, but I just think about it a little bit differently, which is, well, it's kind of like choosing the right opportunity, but like positioning too. So in the reselling space, for example, I think if you position yourself as someone that works with distributors and opens account with distributors and buys whatever is on sale and then sells on Amazon, you are positioned very differently as if you decided to work with brands directly, right? And I think that's a huge positioning difference. It may be harder to work with brands, but I think the returns could be much higher in something like that. Again, that's just an example on how I think of it, but it can be for anything, whether that's true or not. But like thinking about it that way, the same way for building products, I think it's different. It's different if you position yourself as a brand that sells on Amazon and you find opportunities like cash opportunities to sell products on Amazon. It's very different as if you build a brand as a brand and you just happen to sell on Amazon, but you want to sell off Amazon as well and through other different channels, and you're building it that way. Like you're positioning yourself differently. And I think that matters a lot. And it's just and it starts in the very beginning of the company.
Right.
So
Yeah, I totally agree. And one of the big brands, the first thing they ask with who you work, what's your history. They wanna prove that you really know what you're doing. Unfortunately, because if you don't have any brands that you've been working before, it's harder to convince them that you are a good business for them.
yeah.
But still, that's why sometimes you maybe start with a smaller brand, you build in that portfolio in your experience.
Yeah. But also that's and Alexis, we and I have talked about like that before, like partnerships. If you like, for example, the reputation to work with a big brand like that, maybe you can partner with someone that already has a reputation, right? And you put in the work, you get that person in, and then you try to make it happen somehow. But yeah, I mean, I just think it's worthwhile to pursue the better opportunities sometimes than just scramble to maybe, or work a lot to make an opportunity that is may not be as good to make it work.
Yeah, I agree as well. Yeah, this is amazing. I like the conversation.
All right.
Thank you
Kevin is
for
already typing his elevator pitch.
Thank you very much, guys, for coming. I think this book was amazing. I really like it. The next book, it's even better. I really like the author of the book. I've been going to his event. I already have the physical book. So
There you go.
choosing your enemy wisely. Kevin, you should read it. Stefan, I know you're gonna read it. So we can meet next time, which is gonna be March. What happened here? March 6th. I hope I'm here in US and not in somewhere traveling. But if anything, I will do on my laptop. Thank you very much, guys. Let me